Welcome back to Jizz Zwifts. Zwift Games this week in the advanced category on Hudson Hustle. This is a new route that Zwift has introduced for Zwift Games. We're looking at 20 kilometres, just over 20 kilometres in distance with just over 200 metres climbing. So it's pretty flat, this route. Going through Central Park, down to Times Square and then back, finishing at Central Park again. So a nice easy start from the guys in the advanced category. Nobody going out too hard. Usual bike choice for me as well, Tarmac SL8 with the die cut 85s. Now it's really important to make sure you warm up before going into this race. You see in the profile, a lot of the hilly tests that you've got here are in the first third of the route. And they're going up to, at least in some positions, 10% gradient. So you really need to make sure that the legs are nice and warm and that you're ready to counter any attacks or catch the wheel of any breakaway groups. Now I'm feeling pretty good today. I took the day off the bike yesterday and the legs are thanking me for it, so feeling pretty fresh. I was watching one of the other Rolling Collective riders in his advanced race just a couple of hours before I went into this. That was in Marcus Harford's stream. It was a bigger pack he was riding with, there was over 100 in his race, but it was at this section, this hill here and the next hill we've got, that riders were getting dropped left, right and centre. So knowing that, I was conscious that I don't want to be dropped going into this on only week 2 of this race. So started putting the hammer down and really giving it my all to make sure I'm giving myself the best chance to get over these hills in one piece and use the rest of the course for a wee bit of recovery. Absolutely delighted to see some feathers getting popped as well there. That's going to make my job easier when it comes to the end of the race. The less guys with power-ups the better, as far as I'm concerned. It's probably a good time to pop it if you need to, if you're getting dropped. But they guys were sitting right at the front of their pack, only chasing me. I'm not a climber, I say that in every video. But, that's 5 feathers that they've popped there. 6, 7 feathers that I can see. That's going to take a big dent out of the final sprint. As you can see, I'm keeping a hold of my feather. That's my tactic for a lot of these Zwift games, and unless I'm getting badly dropped and it's going to really impact my time, I'm going to keep a hold of that feather for either the last sprint or the last breakaway. So at the summit of that hill there, pretty out of breath, but quite glad that I'm still in one piece. I've got a final riser here, but the pack's mostly all together. I don't think we've dropped many riders, if any at all, in these early stages. But there will be guys that are feeling it here. You've got more guys popping their feathers. Guys going right into the orange, 10 watts a kilo from Team Sick Watts there. Not much to see until we got to the subway. One of the riders out front from the descent. But as a lot of you know, it's a fast-paced subway, nice and flat down here. There's really no chance of an individual breakaway.
Halfway point. Happy so far. Feeling good. Feeling fresh.
Yeah, you don't look it. On to the dreaded escalators. So a lot of the guys do try and ramp it up on these. They will carry you up the hill, and there was a bug earlier when they were initially released. but it's good to see now that there's not always an attack at the top of these. A lot of the guys are keeping their legs for the final stretch. Skipping forward to the Times Square area, where you've got a couple of different elevations, these small gradients that you rise to climb it. Very draftable parts of the race. It can get stretched. You see them dropping down to mid 30s there. A lot of guys hitting the power. You can see flame trails coming up, electric wheels lighting up. So it is going at a good pace, but not overly worried at the minute. Just putting in an extra effort there, just to get back into the thick of things. I'd fell back to 40th, and things were getting a bit stretched on the downhill, so just making sure I'm still in the mix here. And overshot it, didn't need to be out front. On to Escalator 2. So this next riser, we've got a contender who's just went gung-ho. He's ready for it. I've gave a shake of my head, not following that. Some guys popping their feathers too, and 10 watts a kilo popping up left, right and centre. Not from me, just a slow steady 67 watts a kilo. I'm not there to burn any big matches. We know there's only 3 kilometres left to the end of the race. Bad time to be popping your feather there. In hindsight, maybe it was the right thing, because I think here I suffered quite a bit. It got stretched in this lead into the sprint, and I was always teetering around the 40th area. Just as we come under this banner in Central Park, things do get a bit stretched further. It's a slight gradient here, 4 or 5%, still draftable, but you can see in the far distance there's some yellow trons there. Some guys really making their space for their final sprint. I'm doing as much as I can here to try and close the gap to the pack, apart from popping my feather. But slowly but surely the guys are getting further away from me or keeping the same distance. I'm not doing enough to really close this as I'd like to have done. We've got a final kilometre to go, and I really should be popping my feather a bit earlier now. 0.6 kilometres, and we've got a small riser coming up here for the finish line. It does climb ever so slightly going into the banner. Really should have popped it by now, definitely. And you'll see when I go over the finish line that I'll have feathered to waste. I've still got about 25% of it left when I cross the finish line. So not getting as much benefit of that as I could have done. And closed a few gaps, but really should have been more prepared for the finish line. Coming across here in 20th. I think I've been too cautious with the use of my power up, holding on to that for far too late in the game, and I should be popping that earlier. How's that? That was quick, quite fast paced. For that route. Yeah, very fast paced. Don't let the profile fool you, it's quite flat. The escalators are the only real, that's a lie. The escalators are a concern at the end, but the hills at the beginning, that's where it could split the pack. So I did try and give that a big mighty push to start the race. I got a warm up in, or 5 minutes worth of warm up, which is good enough, as good as it gets for me. But I was feeling quite fresh today after taking yesterday off the bike. So yeah, felt good. Top half finish in the advanced category for stage 2. So I'll take that.